The information station, KRMS, Osage Beach.
It's time for the Lakefront Living Realty radio show on News Talk KRMS. Lakefront Living Realty is Missouri's only real estate firm focused solely on lakefront and lake access properties, changing lives one lake house at a time. So let's talk the waterfront lifestyle. Please welcome owner-broker Annie Faulstich and her guests for today's program.
Welcome to the Lakefront Living Real Estate Show, your trusted guide to buying or selling property at Lake of the Ozarks, where every day is a lake day. I'm Annie Faulstich, owner-broker of Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri's only exclusive lakefront lake access brokerage, where we're changing lives one lake house at a time. Welcome back. I hope everyone is off to a fantastic weekend. Well, it's getting close to that time, ready or not. I never want to admit it. So today's topic, no offense to my guest, I can't help but be a little bit bummed out, to be honest. So I love the fall, but I hate what it brings. Today we are talking about tips to keep your home winterized and or away from any issues over the winter and early spring. I have the pleasure of having Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, in the studio today to give us some valuable information. So stay tuned. I have to say, even though we have winterization on the topic today, do not think for a second that real estate or activities are close to shutting down for the season. I personally have been continually just as busy, if not busier, than summer months, proving again what I have said in the past regarding the fall market. The weather is cooling down, but real estate is not. I signed several new contracts, both for buyers and sellers, over the past week. So nice properties are continuing to hit the market, and serious buyers are out shopping. I have 3 new Osage Beach lakefront properties hitting the market next week, so also stay tuned. We'll probably have a long list of featured listings. We've got some good inventory coming on. I've been keeping it to 1 property per week, but we may have to bump that up. But even though, soon it will be too chilly to be on the water, do not discount spending your free time at the lake. Bridal Cave Fall Festival, Lakes Got Talent, multi-fishing tournaments, and holiday festivals going on throughout the year. So again, no longer does the lake shut down. As a lake resident myself growing up, we no longer see the times of the 1980s when the lake shut down. It's amazing to me just all of the activities that they have going on year-round. You can really find something to do for the family every weekend. So remember, though, as always, if you're not able to catch the whole show today, or if you missed any of the previous shows, you can listen anytime on our YouTube channel, Lakefront Living Realty Missouri. Now I would like to welcome Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, to the show. Robbie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking your busy time. I know you guys, you're always busy, but
we stay pretty steady,
especially this year. I'm sure has been a busy year for you with all of the rain and crazy long spring that we had. First, tell me a little bit about yourself and the history of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks and how that came to be.
We started in about late 2005 and have been going ever since. I learned what I learned from my brother, who actually worked at a different ServPro, and then I got into this and then purchased the franchise and been going ever since.
Okay. Had you been in that kind of restoration before, or just through your brother?
Just through my brother. He had actually worked at one, though I worked for a very large retailer.
Okay.
And learned from him before I actually purchased the franchise.
Yeah. What made you, or some of the things that made you decide to go with ServPro?
The brand name.
Yeah.
Yep, the brand name. It's kind of like, any other franchise has a brand name. We have a lot of insurance backing, a lot of, we're a pretty reputable company. So nationwide, there's over 1,700 franchises.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, that we talk about that a lot, of course, with Lakefront Living Realty being a national franchise and having that national exposure. But of course, there's the national backing of trust and credibility that comes along with that, as well as, tools for yourself, your company, and most importantly, for us, our agents, for yourself, I'm sure your technicians and everybody that works in the office. It wasn't too long ago, I just heard some other people were talking about ServPro, that and the credibility. I had a banker in here not too long ago, commercial lender, and he does quite a bit of business with ServPro. He said they were one of his largest customers in another area of Missouri, and had nothing but wonderful things to say about the company itself nationwide. So good for you. It's you've stayed through the course then.
We've stayed the course.
Yeah. Well, I know that ServPro is probably most common known for fire and water restoration. Today, I want to touch on a small portion of that, but really focus on giving the lakefront homeowner your advice to maintain the home properly through the winter. I have to say there are some small, simple mistakes that people make that can cost them thousands of dollars come spring, not to mention time away from their lake home, which is, of course, the most important thing. We do not want to do in the spring and the early summer. So, I'm going to mention a few of some unfortunate horror stories of home sales that the seller was not even aware of. So if you're thinking about possibly listing your home in the spring, please listen up. Of course, on the show, we always want to target and give information to both buyers and sellers of real estate and anybody just wanting to keep up with the real estate market at Lake of the Ozarks. But of course, we always also want to keep you informed of the best way to care for your lake home. So when we talk about damage to the home, Robbie, what do you think is the number one cause or reasons that you get phone calls at your office from the typical homeowner?
Depending on weather, if it's really cold winter, it's going to be busted pipes. If it's a really wet spring like we had this year, we have received a lot of mold growing without having a water damage, and that's mostly due to under conditioning of the home. Whether it be spring, summer, you still have to condition the home year round.
So you think, water issues in general are probably one of
that is the biggest. That is our biggest. Yeah.
Water loss, water damage.
Exactly. Busted pipes, water supply lines, washing machine overflows. That's the biggest part of what we do.
Okay. So let's go in. We're going to kind of dive a little deeper into each of those areas and topics and things that Robbie suggests that each homeowner do prior to the winter. Do you think this is specific to anybody that's leaving for the season? I mean, is this for the second homeowner that shuts up the home for the season, or is this advice for anybody that has a house?
I would say this would be advice for anybody who has a second home that it's going to be unoccupied for more than 14 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I know HVAC was a topic that you wanted to chat about today. So give the listeners a little information on, what direction you want to give them advice on what they really need to be doing with their heating and cooling through the winter.
As they leave, as they come and go, the HVAC system needs to be, fully operational, checked out by a professional, and it needs to be left running whether they're here or not. Now, it doesn't have to be set as high and low, but it's still important that if it's summer or winter, spring, fall, the home still needs to be conditioned due to humidity levels getting too high. And with humidity getting too high, that can introduce fungal growth. just guidelines would be no less than 60 degrees in the winter and no more than 80 degrees in the summer, and that should keep the humidity levels under control. If that does not work, a dehumidifier would need to be put in place or something like that to keep the humidity level down in the home.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about dehumidifiers as well, but that's a little higher than what I think some people hear, or I've heard in the past, that 60-degree mark as opposed to a 50-degree, and that's, I think, typically when people think about their HVAC over the winter, they're worried about frozen pipes. But we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back talking to Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, continuing to talk about winterizing that lake home. So stay tuned with us on the Lakefront Living Radio Show on News Talk KRMS, 1150 AM, 97.5 FM, and 103.3 FM. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the Lakefront Living Realty radio show on News Talk KRMS. Once again, here's owner-broker Annie Faulstich.
Welcome back to Lakefront Living Real Estate Show, your trusted guide to buying or selling property at Lake of the Ozarks, where every day is a lake day. Again, I'm Annie Faulstich, owner-broker of Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri's only exclusive lakefront lake access brokerage. So if you missed out on the first part of the show, today we are talking about winterizing your lake home. Wah, wah, wah. No. Oh, man, I don't want to talk about it yet. Fall is so beautiful, and it's like the leaves just changed overnight. So I'm going to personally take in every second I can of the fall. But as you know, we always are wanting to keep lake homeowners informed of things that they need to be on top of and aware of when owning a lake home. Especially, if you are thinking of listing your lake home in the spring or early summer, these are tips you really need to take into account. We're talking with Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, and talking about those tips for homeowners. We just left off before the break discussing HVAC, heating and cooling, where to leave those temperatures whenever you're not using your lake property over the winter. And I think for a few reasons, people automatically think of the busted pipes, frozen pipes. And as we have seen, and we're going to talk a little bit further about dehumidifiers and mold, but that was probably one of the biggest reasons, even, over the late winter, early spring, once we started to see all of that rain and mold come, if people did not have their airflow moving. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, that is correct. Yeah. If a home's not conditioned to a recommended humidity level and there's no air movement, whether the doors and windows are open or closed, a fungal will grow, mold will grow, and it might grow on furniture surfaces, it might grow on kitchen cabinets. It just depends on the particular home and how it's conditioned and how the humidity level is in it. Because your neighbor's house might be not as humid as yours, he may not have an issue, but you might, because the humidity level in your house is a little different.
Yeah.
Every home is different.
If your home is listed also currently and through this winter, please take this into account. And the little extra that you may pay on the electric bill, again, could save you a buyer that comes in when nobody's been there in a couple of months, walks through the door and sees mold growing. That's probably going to guarantee they're not going to move forward on the purchase of your home and then cost you a little extra to get that cleaned up. So take that into consideration. I will do a shameless little plug for my husband, as you all know, controlled heating and cooling. Wi-Fi thermostats. If you don't have one, get one. I think that that's very important for anybody that is not going to be living in their home through the winter and early spring seasons. It really is one of the best ways to keep track of what's going on. Where is the thermostat set? And if something is going wrong with your heat or with your air, you're going to know about it in advance, not wait 3 months before you walk into the house. So
I agree. And also, the ones that automatically change it over from heat to air conditioning, because at a particular time during, between the spring and the summer, you could have a day in the 80s and very humid, but then it could go back down into the 60s and 50s. So you'd want one that changes automatically, so it sets the temperature, whether it's cool or heat, in the house all the time the same.
We see that a lot, actually. Surprisingly, I'll walk into a condo to show it in June 1st, and it's still set on heat.
Exactly.
No.
So which, if you had an automatic changeover one, it would automatically set that air, the AC to a particular, comfortable level.
Perfect. Let's talk about dehumidifiers. That's one thing also when showing property. I have a lot of buyers get scared. They'll see a dehumidifier and think, oh my gosh, they must have a water problem here. When in fact, we actually encourage the seller to keep that dehumidifier running, put a dehumidifier in. That is going to prevent them from coming in and seeing the mold, probably.
Exactly, yeah.
But talk to me a little bit more about dehumidifiers.
So, in the summer, your air conditioner is a natural dehumidifier, but as you're leaving and you're turning your air conditioner up, a dehumidifier aside from your air conditioner is going to help, keep the humidity levels in the home to an acceptable level. So I would recommend, any time you have a second living home or, that you're going to be away for a while and you're going to set your air conditioning to a higher level, is always have a backup dehumidifier or have a dehumidifier unit installed on your unit itself.
Okay. Do people have to winterize their home? I mean, if not, is that something, if you're going to be away, do you recommend going forward with a full home winterization, or what precautions should they take for the winter months when they're not at their lake home? Kind of mention some cabinet doors or closet doors.
If they're going to be away for extended months at a time, I would recommend a full winterization. That's a professional plumber coming in and evacuating the pipes and getting the plumbing system to where if it does get cold enough to freeze in there, it's not going to freeze and break the pipes. Leaving closet doors open, leaving cabinet doors open, and that helps with circulation, and it helps the pipes in the kitchen cabinets won't freeze as easy because you're letting the heat in. But if they are coming back and forth, a full winterization is not necessary, just precautions. Heat set at the correct level, water shut off, but not, completely evacuated by a plumber. There is a difference, but if they're coming back and forth, I really don't see a full, winterization need. Okay,
just keep that main water shut off.
Yep, because it only takes a few nights and days of below, 32 degrees and some good wind chill in a house with heat in it to freeze a pipe, in a spot that's the wind might be hitting directly on. So,
okay. Hose bib, are we there? Are we this week? We've kind of already hit that. Do people need to have those hoses already?
It would be if you're using it on the weekend and you're leaving on Sunday, I would take it off on Sunday before you leave, because if you accidentally leave the garden spigot hooked up, it's not you won't notice it until spring the next year when you're power washing and you're flooding your basement from a busted spigot.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most common.
It is very common. Yeah,
I know. I joked about that in an earlier show. I learned that the hard way on
Yeah.
my first house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't know till you're done.
No, I didn't know why why in the world the guest bedroom was flooding out
Yeah.
of nowhere coming up from the carpet.
Yeah,
So,
because they only leak when you turn them on.
yeah, that was a hard lesson to learn, but I guess you only hopefully have to learn that one time.
Yep.
So, gutters also. You mentioned to me during the break a little bit about gutters, which is something that I never thought about even, worrying about, aside from just keeping your gutters clean and more of the flow through your gutters, but there's a little more to that.
Yeah, if your gutters are constricted by debris or something, if we do get a cold rain and it freezes and then it was to happen to clog those gutters up, it's called ice damming, and the rain would actually back up into the eave of the home and will come into down the walls and ceilings. So it's called ice damming, and it does happen, and we've done many ice damming jobs over the years we've been open.
Huh. I had never heard of that before, so
Yeah.
that was something new to me. But now, so we've given the homeowners a few steps to take to avoid disaster. I think it was very important. Again, with Lakefront Living working exclusively with lakefront and lake access home buyers, a good majority of our buyers and sellers are here part-time. So it's very important to take these precautions in maintaining your lake home. We want it to be to the best of its ability when we're ready to list that house in the spring. So stay with us at Lakefront Living Radio Show. We're going to continue talking about steps to take to avoid disaster or what to do when disaster does happen. We've got Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, with us in the studio today. So be sure to stay with us. And of course, if you miss any part of the episode, you can always catch us on our YouTube channel at Lakefront Living Missouri. Otherwise, keep with us at News Talk KRMS, 1150 AM, 97.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the Lakefront Living Realty radio show on News Talk KRMS. Once again, here's owner-broker Annie Faulstich.
Welcome back to Lakefront Living Real Estate Show, your trusted guide to buying or selling property at Lake of the Ozarks, where every day is a lake day. Again, I'm Annie Faulstich, owner-broker of Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri's only exclusive lakefront lake access brokerage. So I wanted to remind everybody as well that Lakefront Living Realty Missouri is now also covering Table Rock, Taneycomo, and Bull Shoals Lake. So if you or anyone you know is interested or would like to know more about real estate on those particular lakes, please have them go to lakefrontliving.com, the Missouri page, and check out active real estate. We are talking about winterizing your lake home today. We're so excited to have Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, in the studio with us today. He's been going over some great tips for homeowners, things to keep in mind, things to do to prevent your home from having to call Robbie, really.
Correct.
So we're going to try to keep you from calling him. But I know like we said, now we've given them, the homeowners, some steps to avoid disaster. I want to run quickly through all of the services that you provide when in an emergency. First of all, listeners, if you have not gone to ServProLakeoftheOzarks.com, I would highly recommend it. It really is nice. I had no idea that you have tips on there. I mean, so we're going to start with water damage, and we've kind of been talking about that, and I think that's probably one of your main sources.
Yes.
Of referrals or service that you do. But so cool, on the website there's a tab that you can click, water damage tips until help arrives. It seriously walks you through. I mean, it made me think I can imagine myself in the midst of an emergency go to surfprolakeoftheozarks.com. I mean, really, that would be your source, your guide that could possibly help keep you calm and putting you in the right direction, because it had those tips for all of the disasters that we're going to talk about that they cover. But that was so helpful.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much information was actually on the site.
Yeah, it covers from initial phone call till the time we get there of, how to take care of furniture, what to do with your furniture, what to do with your belongings, electrical and stuff like that. Everything you just need to take care of until we can get there.
Things you wouldn't even think of like that. I mean, furniture, electrical. I mean, you'd just pretty much be standing there in a panic.
Yeah, which most people are.
Yeah. Not thinking about those types of things that, again, could save valuables and very important pieces, memorabilia for yourself, and hopefully save you money from having to replace those items. So talk to me a little bit about that. Water damage, kind of walk me through briefly what that looks like. And I know they're all different.
They are all are different. And it's when we get there, we assess the situation. What is it a category 2? Is it from overhead? Is it a single level? Does it have a crawl space? Does it have, is it on a concrete slab? And then we just assess the best way to address it. And we just take over from there with dehumidification, air movement. We keep the customers informed, and we'll dry the structure down to a safe, acceptable humidity level and take care of the customer.
I know that you all work directly as well with insurance companies.
Correct.
Okay. So that's another piece of the puzzle that you as the homeowner are not going to have to stress about, because your office helps guide them through that process.
Exactly. We are on several preferred service provider program insurances.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're coming in, you're tearing everything out.
We try not to tear everything out.
Okay.
We try to save what we can. But in most cases, and especially at the Lake of the Ozarks, because a lot of people are not here.
Yeah.
And it's found
so late.
So late.
Yeah.
It's found beyond that 2 to 3 day window. So unfortunately, once something is that saturated, it does have to be removed. But we try to be in the business of saving, but unfortunately, some of it has to be removed.
You do not put it back together.
We do not do construction.
Okay. Is that something that you all help your customers?
We
clients?
give references. Okay. We know several reputable contractors that we have dealt with since we opened, so we try to give 3 to 5 names of folks that we're comfortable with, and we let them choose who they feel most comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I think that when, especially folks do not live here. I mean, that's the scary thing, even if it's your home and you live here, but to be several hours away dealing with any kind of water loss or water damage has got to be extremely stressful. So again, I think ServPro has the tools in line and the customer service so that it is more of a one-stop shop, and they feel like they can have a trusted source to be their eyes and their ears on their lake home when they're not here.
Yep.
Fire damage also is something that you all cover. Fire damage can be devastating for you and your family. Feelings of confusion and stress are common, and you need a caring expert to guide you through this crisis. You say ServPro always treats your family with the greatest empathy and respect, and the property, of course, with great care. Again, I can't imagine the devastation of a fire. I know personally, I've seen several posts from you, Jessica, everybody in your office, reaching out in cases of fire damage, helping those families out. That outreach, I know you're not getting paid for. That's not part of what comes to your paycheck. It's just out of the generosity of your own hearts. But you all are always reaching out to try to help those families in the fire damage.
Yes, we do. We have a job to do, but also there's the human aspect of it where we got to help the people that help us. So that's what we like to do.
Well, I know
and a fire basically is totally different than doing a water damage. Now you might have both of them together, but it's a lot more personable in a fire because there's usually a lot more damage to personal items than in a water damage.
In a fire, is it the homeowner that's calling you directly? Insurance?
It just depends. And, the homeowner can choose whoever they would like to. We do get calls from insurance companies asking us to, if we would contact their customer, which would be their insured. It's kind of both ways. We could receive it through the PSP program, or we could receive it through, word of mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But typically a homeowner does have that option.
Absolutely.
To say,
yeah.
Okay.
It's just like taking your car to an auto body repair shop. It's they have their preferred vendors. You can choose whoever you would like.
Yeah, that's something to definitely remember if you're listening to the show and the unfortunate happens to you. Remember that you can choose who you want to take care of your things. I've again, talking to so many homeowners and hearing different situations and disasters. They've had other companies come out to their property and have, unsatisfactory stories anyway. So it's kind of like in real estate. You get to choose your title company.
That's right.
You get to choose your real estate agent. So,
that's right.
So remember, who it is that you want in your house in a time of disaster. Mold remediation is also another one. I guess that probably goes hand in hand with water damage.
It can, yeah. It can. We like to get to them before that point, before that 72-hour window. But a lot of times at the Lake of the Ozarks, they've not been here, so usually there's a little bit of mold involved.
Yeah. We have personally worked together even on mold that's not a water damage.
Correct.
With a lot of real estate transactions happening and property changing hands, now some buyers are choosing to have mold inspections, done on the property that they're purchasing prior to purchasing. So that's something that we're seeing a lot more of. Just as a small disclosure, I highly recommend talking to ServPro or, getting that referral from a good source when you're having those inspections done. When we come back, I'll probably have Robbie give you a little bit of information as far as who it is that you're recommending to have those mold tests done. I know that that's not something that you all do,
No.
but you ensure through the quality of your work and what you can do after remediation that the testing is being done by a qualified tester. And I know that there are technical terms for those specific people that I don't know, so I'm going to let you talk about that when we come back on the Lakefront Living radio show. So stay tuned with us. Of course, we've got our listing of the week coming up too, so stay with us at News Talk KRMS. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the Lakefront Living Realty radio show on News Talk KRMS. Once again, here's owner-broker Annie Faulstich.
Welcome back to Lakefront Living Real Estate Show, your trusted guide to buying or selling property at Lake of the Ozarks, where every day is a lake day. Again, I'm Annie Faulstich, owner-broker of Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri's only exclusive lakefront lake access brokerage. If you've missed any part of today's show, please remember you can catch it anytime on our YouTube channel, Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri. Today, we are talking about tips to keep your home winterized and away from any issues over the winter and early spring. We've had Robbie Cox, owner of ServPro Lake of the Ozarks, in the studio with us today, giving us some invaluable information on keeping your home free of water damage, mold, all of those things nobody wants to talk about. So we went through some homeowner tips, things to do during the winter and early spring when you're not going to be occupying your lake home. We've also run through some of the other services, of course, that ServPro provides. Water damage, fire damage. We're talking a little bit about mold remediation prior to the break, so I wanted just to touch on that a little bit. I said we personally in the real estate industry deal a little bit with that mold due to home inspections now. And so I think that that's something important to talk about because, of course, the show itself, we're always talking to buyers and sellers of real estate. And buyers can now choose to have their home inspector do an air quality mold inspection, sampling. Okay.
Correct.
Yep. Help me with my terms. But give us some advice on where to go from there, because I know it can be scary when you get those reports back, or if anything seems to be at an elevated rate. And for the common person and myself, I'm not qualified to read those. I see anything in the red and it's in the red. There's
Yes.
no in between. I really have no idea what I'm looking at, but then you automatically get scared.
Yes. So a lot of home inspectors do air quality sampling. It's the results afterwards of why, the questions of why is it there, what's causing it, how bad is it. I'm not sure, a home inspector could answer a lot of those questions. That's why we fall back to an industrial hygienist with certifications to actually produce a protocol to tell us, why, what his best, thoughts of why it's there. Is it under conditioning? Was it an unmitigated water damage? Why it would be there. And he produces a protocol. A lot of home inspectors will just give you, the air sampling, just letting you know that there is a problem. And then we go one step further and get an industrial hygienist involved. That way we can get to the root of the problem and get it remediated professionally.
Yeah, and really find out the severity.
Correct, because, it could be as small as a little spot in a utility room, or it could be as big as, there's spots on every single wall in the home. Because a lot of times in a water damage, the humidity levels upstairs are just as bad as they are downstairs, and the humidity levels upstairs will produce the mold growth on the walls, and it's not even affected. It's called secondary damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've been finding that so much this year, typically
because of the wet
spring in homes that did not even have any water damage per se, but nobody was occupying the home, and maybe again they kept the closet doors shut, they kept the cabinet doors shut, things were just shut up, no airflow, no dehumidifier running, and now all of a sudden that mold appears or is showing up on inspections. So definitely reach out to a lakefront specialist to help you with that process if you're buying lakefront property and having those home inspections. And of course, ServPro, they help work with us directly and give us advice and referrals to the appropriate people that we need to talk to that are specialists in that area and can help the buyers determine exactly what's going on, or the sellers in that fact. Sometimes it happens to the seller unknowing, of course. They don't even know that any of that's happening. So
correct.
Thank you for that. I know ServPro also covers storm damage and commercial services, so be sure to visit them on their website, ServProLakeOfTheOzarks.com. It is a wealth of knowledge, honestly. So I was surprised. I could have stayed on there and got a lot of information and education.
A wealth of information on there. Yes, there is.
It really was. And almost, like I said, those tips for people to be in time of distress was huge. So give us another way, or any way that anybody can contact you if need be.
Best way to contact us is 1-800-ServPro. if you're out of the area, that's going to put you in contact with the franchise in your area. A lot of people live in St. Louis, Kansas City, Illinois. 1-800-SERVPRO will get you to the proper franchise. We are locally here, but you can still use the 1-800 number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Robbie, thanks so much for joining me today.
You're
taking
welcome.
the time out of your busy weekend to be here. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, it's that time of the show for the new listing of the week, listed by Lakefront Living Realty. Again, Missouri's only exclusive lakefront lake access brokerage. Today, we are headed to the North Shore. 27433 Montrose Drive in Rocky Mount, located on the 6-mile marker of the Gravois Arm. This property is unique in several ways. Located on a flat lot over 1 acre, this property comes with a main house and a guest house. The main house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the guest house is an additional large 1-bed bunkhouse with a full bath, separate living, and full kitchen. There is a large outdoor covered patio, perfect for entertaining, right off of the flat lakefront green grass yard. Honestly, you could throw a heck of a party here. A flat walk to one of 2 docks on the property, featuring 350 feet of shoreline. A 1-well dock and a separate swim dock make the perfect setup for lake living. The backyard off the main house also features a huge flat yard that is fenced in and perfect for little ones or pets. This property truly gives you the lake living feeling. Cared for full-time for many years by the same family, it is ready to start enjoying today. Less than 1 mile off paved roads, you are not far from amenities. Again, that's 27433 Montrose Drive. It is listed at $199,900. That's $30,000 under appraisal that we had less than 30 days ago. The seller is ready to relocate and invite a new family to make many years of memories just as they have. That's right, 2 homes and 2 docks, over 1 acre, and 350 feet of lakefront for the price of one. $199,900. So call me directly to set up a private showing, 573-216-4350 anytime, or you can always go to lakefrontliving.com. We will have featured pictures, videos, other descriptions, and property information on our Instagram, on our YouTube, and Facebook, always Lakefront Living Realty, Missouri. Reminder today, we're also currently having an open house at one of our listings from 10 to 1 p.m. today, so still just a little bit of time to swing by there if you are in Osage Beach. 33 Buoyant Place. This is a golf course lake access property listed at $154,000. No land lease here. This is part of the Tantera Estates, but no land lease. It is a fee simple. This one comes turnkey and has rental history. So stop by there and see Haley today, 33 Buoyant Place in Osage Beach. We are always talking about selling a lifestyle at Lakefront Living Realty. So do what you can to keep your home free of water damage and mold this winter and spring. That is not the lifestyle that anybody is looking to sell, for sure. So instead, follow the advice of the professionals so your home will be ready to enjoy this spring or ready to list. We want to showcase your lake lifestyle to all of our pre-qualified lakefront buyers. If you would ever like to talk directly to one of our lakefront specialists regarding selling your lakefront or lake access property, contact us directly through lakefrontliving.com and go to the Missouri page. You could be next week's featured listing. My family and I live and work to boat and enjoy all the Lake of the Ozarks has to offer. Real estate truly is my passion, so every day is a lake day. Until next week, enjoy family and friends this gorgeous fall weekend and stay safe on, and now soon to be off, unfortunately, the lake. But we will see you next week. Stay with us always at News Talk KRMS 1150 AM.
Hi, I'm Haley Glover, Realtor and Lakefront Specialist with Lakefront Living Realty at Lake of the Ozarks. You can find me at lakefrontliving.com, call 913-638-7798, or email me directly at Haley, Haley, at lakefrontliving.com.
Tell a friend to join you next week and listen in to the Lakefront Living Realty radio show. Visit their website for more information, including current listings and agent contacts. www.lakefrontliving.com. That's lakefrontliving.com. Or call the office at 833-LK-FRONT. That's 833-7668. 833-7668. And join them next Saturday after the news at 11 a.m. on News Talk KRMS, Osage Beach.